Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So chapter 4. Shri Bhagavana Vacha Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavanaham Vavyayam Vivasvana Manve Praha Manu Rikshvakave Brivit Brabit.
The personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god Vivishwan, and Vivishwan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku.
Evam parampara praptam imam rajarishyo vidu sakale neha mahata yogo nashta parantapa.
This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost.
Sa evayam maya tedya yoga prokta puratanaha bhaktosi me sakha cheti rahasyam hayet duttamam.
That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you, because you are my devotee, as well as my friend, and therefore can understand the transcendental mystery of this science.
Arjuna vacha aparam bhavato janma param janma vivasvavat pataha kathamet dvijaniyam tvamado proktavaniti.
Arjuna said, the sun god Vivishwan is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed this science to him?
Shri Bhagavan vacha bahuni me vyatitani janmani tav charjuna tanyaham veda sarvani natvam vetat parantapa.
The personality of Godhead said, many, many births both you and I have passed. I can remember them all, but you cannot, O subduer of the enemy.
Ajopi sanyavayatma bhutanami kshvaropi san prakritim swam dhishtaya sambhavam miyatma mayaya.
Although I am unborn, and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form.
Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir-bhavati bharata abhyukthanam adharmasya tadatmanam sajamyaham.
Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself.
Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge.
To deliver the pious and annihilate the miscreants, as well as to reestablish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium.
Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvatah tyaktva deham punarjanma neti mameti so Arjuna.
One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna.
Vitaraga bhaya krodha manmaya mamu pashrita bahavo jnana tapasa puta madbhava bhagata.
Being free from attachment, fear, and anger, being fully absorbed in me and taking refuge in me, many, many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attained transcendental love for me.
Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam sateva bhajamyaham mam vashya part sarvashaha.
As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Partha.
Kam kanshata karmanam siddhim vajayanta eva devata shipram hi manushe loke siddhi bhavati karmaja.
Men in this world desire success in fruitive activities, and therefore they worship the demigod. Quickly, of course, men get results from fruitive work in this world.
Chaturvarnyam maya shrishtam gunakarma vibhagasha tasya kartar mam vidya kartar mavyayam.
According to the three modes of material nature and the works associated with them, the four divisions of human society are created by me. And although I am the creator of this system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable.
Namam karmani limpanti name karma phale spraha iti mam yo bhijanati karma bhirna padyate.
There is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for any fruits of action. One who understands the truth about me also does not become entangled in the fruitive reactions of work.
Well, Prabhu, I'm just going to mute everyone. So there's a background noise coming. So if you can then unmute yourself again, Prabhu. Thank you.
Evam gyatva kritam karma purver api mumukshubhi kuru karmeva tasmatvam purvataram kritam.
All liberated souls in ancient times acted with the understanding of my transcendental nature. Therefore, you should perform your duty following their footsteps.
Kim karmeti kavyo pyatra mohita tatte karma pravakshami yajgatva mokshayase shubhat.
Even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. Now I shall explain to you what is action, what action is, knowing which you shall be liberated from all misfortune.
Karmano hayapi bodhvyam bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha akarmana cha bodhavyam gehna karmano gati.
The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is.
Karmanya karmaya pashyeda karmani cha karmaya sabuddhi man manusyeshu sa yukta karm yukta krit san karma krit.
One who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is intelligent among men, and he is in the transcendental position to be in all sorts of activities.
Yasya sarve samarambha kama sankalpa varjita jnana agni dagdh karmanam tamahu panditam buddha.
One is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every endeavor is devoid of desire for sense gratification. He is said by the sages to be a worker for whom the reaction of work have been burned up by the fire of perfect knowledge.
Tyaktva karma phala sangam nitya tripto nirashaya karmanya bhipravrittopi neva kinchit karoti saha.
Abandoning all attachment to the results of his activities, ever satisfied and independent, he performs no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of undertakings.
Nirashiryata chittatma tyaktva sarva parigraha shariram kevalam karma kurvan napnoti kilbisham.
Such a man of understanding acts with mind and intelligence perfectly controlled, gives up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions, and acts only for the bare necessities of life. Thus working, he is not affected by sinful reaction.
Thank you, Prabhu. I think we have to do till 21, yeah?
Yes, thank you so much, Srila Prabhu. And
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. Please accept my humble obeisances.
thank you so much, Hitesh Prabhu and Srila Prabhu. That was wonderful. I mean, what better than reciting a chapter of Bhagavad Gita on any day, but what to speak of the day which is falling in the auspicious month of Kartik. It is it's the perfection of our tongue. It is the perfection of our very existence, actually, to come in contact with this transcendental vibration of Bhagavad Gita, the words which directly emanated from the lotus mouth of the Lord, which is also called as a song of God, So thank you for that recitation. So today, dear devotees, we are discussing text 4. So maybe somebody can repeat after me, one line at a time. Hitesh Prabhu, you can do it if you like. Arjuna uvacha.
Arjuna uvacha.
Aparam bhavato janma.
Aparam bhavato janma.
Param janma vivashvata.
param janma vivashvata
katham edat vigyanyam
katham etat vijnanam
tvam ado provaktavan iti.
tvam ado pravaktavanti
Sorry, tvam ado proktavan iti.
tvam adom pravaktavanti.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Arjuna said, the sun god Vivashwan is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand what in the beginning am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed this science to me? Purport. Arjuna is an accepted devotee of the Lord, so how could he not believe Krishna's words? The fact is that Arjuna is not inquiring for himself, but for those who do not believe in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or for the demons who do not like the idea that Krishna should be accepted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For them only Arjuna inquires on this point, as if he were himself not aware of the personality of Godhead or Krishna. As it will be evident from the 10th chapter, Arjuna knew perfectly well that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the fountainhead of everything, and that the last word in transcendence. Of course, Krishna also appeared as the son of Devaki on this earth. How Krishna remained the same Supreme Personality of Godhead, the eternal original person, is very difficult for an ordinary man to understand. Therefore, to clarify this point, Arjuna put this question before Krishna so that he himself could speak authoritatively. That Krishna is the supreme authority is accepted by the whole world, not only at the present, but from the time immemorial. And the demons alone reject him. Anyway, since Krishna is the authority accepted by all, Arjuna put this question before him in order that Krishna would describe himself without being, excuse me, it is necessary, Anyway, since Krishna is the authority accepted by all, Arjuna put this question before him in a way understandable to the demons and their followers. It is necessary that everyone, for his own interest, know the signs of Krishna. Therefore, when Krishna himself speaks about himself, it is auspicious for all the worlds. To the demons, such explanations by Krishna himself may appear to be strange because the demons always study Krishna from their own standpoint. But those who are devotees heartily welcome the statements of Krishna when they are spoken by Krishna himself. The devotees will always worship such authoritative statements of Krishna because they are always eager to know more and more about him. The atheists who consider Krishna an ordinary man may in this way come to know that Krishna is superhuman, that he is Sachit Ananda Vigraha, the eternal form of bliss and knowledge, that he is transcendental and that he is above the domination of the modes of material nature and above the influence of time and space. A devotee of Krishna like Arjuna is undoubtedly above any misunderstanding of the transcendental position of Krishna. Arjuna's putting this question before the Lord is simply an attempt by the devotee to defy the atheist attitude of persons who consider Krishna to be an ordinary human being, subject to the modes of material nature. I'll read the translation one more time. Arjuna said, the sun god Vivashwan is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed this science to him? So this is the fourth verse of this wonderful chapter. And so just before we do that, let's offer our pranams to our previous acharyas and to all our teachers and seek their blessings so we can share something and discuss something on this particular verse. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyat Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubheva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we have now arrived at this beautiful fourth chapter entitled Transcendental Knowledge. And we are in the first section of this chapter, which really is from text 1 to text 10. And in these verses, the transcendental knowledge about Krishna, how it should be received in a disciplic succession, is being spoken. It has also been revealed that the truth about Krishna's form, his birth, and his activities. And knowing these truths, one who takes shelter of Krishna becomes purified and attains Krishna. So in one sense, the entire formula of achieving the transcendental realm of the spiritual world has been explained in these wonderful 10 verses of this particular chapter. So the theme of this particular verse, which we just read today, is that Arjuna's doubt, he has a doubt here, how can Krishna born as son of Devaki, and he instruct Vivashwan who's millions of years old, you see? So it's quite interesting. I've been reading the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and in the third chapter, which is entitled The Birth of Lord Krishna, it is explained that how wonderful it is that the Lord appeared in the womb of Devaki. And Prabhupada, in many of those subsequent verses, he explains in that purports that one may doubt that, oh, Krishna is being born like an ordinary child here because he's coming from the womb of Devaki. But then Prabhupada clarifies that point very nicely by quoting Sridhar Swami and many other previous Acharya like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, that actually it's not Krishna, it's not the fact that Krishna is taking birth directly from the womb. Actually, Krishna was first present in the heart of Vasudev, who was the father of Krishna. He was already present in the heart. And from his heart, he was then transferred to Devaki's heart. And from Devaki's heart, he was then transferred over to the womb of the Lord. And then Prabhupada goes on to explain in those verses that how Krishna's appearing through this, although he's also situated as a super soul, but here Krishna himself appeared in the heart of Vasudev. That's why, although after Krishna appeared, and then he appeared in the four-armed form, and then of course then he changed to become a normal, like a nice, beautiful baby. So Prabhupada explains very nicely there that when Krishna appeared so beautiful, looking so beautiful, Vasudeva was completely peaceful. Otherwise, on a flip side, he would be worried because he knew Kamsa is going to kill him. But Vasudeva was so peaceful because he saw that the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the four-armed form of Vishnu is there. And after the Devatas finish offering the prayers, Vasudeva offers these beautiful prayers to Lord Krishna. And in one of those prayers, Prabhupada gives a very nice purport there. He says that Vasudeva is glorifying Krishna for being the all-pervading. So he knew perfectly well that the Lord is actually first comes down in form of Karanodakshai Vishnu, through whom various universes start to emanate from his pores. And from this very Karanodakshai form of the Lord comes the Garbhodakshai Vishnu, who then enters into each of these universes. And from further expansion of the same Mahavishnu is Shirodakshai Vishnu, who then takes place in the heart of every single living entity, including the atom. So Vasudev was a transcendental personality who was completely aware of the absolute truth. Prabhupada uses the word in one of the purports called he was a Tattvadarshi. He had seen the absolute truth, so he could then relate that absolute truth and be very, very confident and be very reflective. So I was thinking about it. Many times in our life, we go through so much of reading, so much of lectures, but it's very important. Like one of my dear friend was sharing with me recently that we should also try to do mananam, which means reflection, whatever we read. And the best way to reflect whatever we read is to share with others. Either you share with your family members or you share with your friends, or you share in the on platforms like we have chat, or when you're speaking to others, because by doing that you're very positively reflecting on what you just read actually. So there it is very nicely explained that Devki, although gave birth to Krishna, both of them were fearless. So coming back to our original point, Arjuna is asking the question, how can Krishna, born as a son of Devaki, who instructed Vivashwan, who's millions of years older? And thank God we have the purport of our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada. Otherwise, we may also start to speculate, oh wow, that means Arjuna had no idea, you know. But Prabhupada in the very beginning of the purport is clarifying something. He's saying to defy demoniac and atheist people who say that Krishna is ordinary. You see, the mood of the pure devotee is to really benefit others. Why do you think Prahlad Maharaj, when the Lord Nrsingadev appeared, he was in bliss seeing the Lord. He was so happy and peaceful, and everybody else around him was really, really scared and fearing for their life. But Prahlad Maharaj was the most composed personality in that whole assembly, to the point that people, empowered devatas like Brahma, had to come and tell Prahlad Maharaj, I think only you can pacify Lord Nrsingadev. But even in that moment, Prahlad was only thinking, how can I benefit two people? Any guesses who those two people were? Or yeah.
His father.
Okay, very good. Well done on the first one.
And the second one, Lord.
Sorry, Kanta Mataji.
And the second one, Lord Narasimha, to pacify him.
No, the idea was who was Prahlad Maharaj thinking of in terms of when Lord Nrsingadev appeared and when he wanted to give him benediction. Even then, Prahlad wasn't thinking of himself. He was thinking, one, of his father.
His father, yeah.
And second, he was thinking.
Second.
Sorry, Prabhu.
Sorry, Hare Krishna. He is thinking about everyone else in the universe.
Fantastic, Venkat Prabhu. So he was thinking of the 34 members on this chat right now and everybody else who's not on this chat right now. And he was thinking for everybody else who's in Krishna consciousness, trying to practice Krishna consciousness, and everybody else who's not Krishna consciousness. More so for someone who's not Krishna conscious. You see, this is the mood of a devotee. So similarly, we see the similar mood in Arjuna. Being a pure devotee of the Lord, he's always concerned that what is it that I may inquire which will benefit the world at a large scale. That is why right at the outset of Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, what is that beautiful verse? I have to, where is my verse book once again? I don't have it here, but I'll try to share the approximate translation and somebody may remember the Sanskrit. When the sages of the Naimisharanya asked a question to Suta Goswami congratulated them, saying that these questions are lokahitam. They are for the benefit of the entire humankind, what you have asked. These are not normal questions. These are not the questions what you would be asking when you meet in a pub to another person. Oh man, what a shame. This is such a rainy day. Oh man, it's too hot. Oh, it's too cold. The hottest topic the people have to talk about is the weather and all sorts of these things. But Sutta Goswami is saying that is not what we want to discuss. What we want to discuss is Harikatha. Tapta Jivanam. What is that beautiful verse? That it is that the pastimes of the Lord which brings the ras, the life in our body actually. That is the biggest source of our happiness. So similarly, Arjuna is also thinking, while he's asking this question, that how can I defy the demoniac and atheist who say that Krishna is ordinary, and on the other hand, how can I bring some clarity to the people of this world who will also appreciate this understanding which Krishna is about to give in the subsequent verses. So he wants Krishna to speak authoritatively on the benefits of Krishna speaking. Krishna's speech is auspicious for the whole world, Prabhupada is saying. Devotees heartily welcome and worship such statements. They are always eager to hear more and more about Krishna. Let's have a little bit of an interactive session here. Can somebody quote a verse from either Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam which confirms this point that devotees heartily welcome and worship such statements, that this message of Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita is very dear to the devotees? Anyone can quote any verse? There are so many verses. I'll give a hint. Let's see if you can remember. This one is from Bhagavad Gita. My devotees, they are always, I'm paraphrasing, they're always happy by discussing my topics with one another. Come on, dear devotees, you got to work with me here. We have so many
Okay.
Pandits on the call.
It is chapter 10.9.
Tell us the verse, Bhagavati Mataji.
Machita madgata something.
Machita madgata
Gata
prana
prana.
Bodhayantas
Bodhyantam
parasparam
parasparam.
Tushanti charam Kathayanti
Kathayanti man.
Tushanti
Ramanti.
cha. What is the third line? Kathayantas chame nityam Tushanti cha ramanti cha.
Ramanti cha, yeah.
Please tell us, if you're able to access that verse, please tell us the exact translation, Mataji.
I'll go into that.
No problem. Any other verse while, yes, you found it, Bhagavati Mataji?
Yeah, with their mind fixed on me and their lives surrendered to me, my devotees remain ever content in me. They derive great satisfaction and bliss in enlightening one another about me and conversing about my glories.
Chai. So
Yeah,
quite close, right? Devotees heartily welcome and worship the statements. It's a very, very related verse. Let's have another verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. So we have one Pandit, Bhagavati Mataji, on the call. Thank you so much. We need few more. Srimad Bhagavatam, I'll give you a little hint. There are a couple of verses. One of them is, another one in Bhagavad Gita is Satatam Kirtayanto. No, that we just discussed. And there's one more verse in Bhagavatam. Today, the verses are not coming to my mind for some reason. This is in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where it is explained that oh, Krishna. Anyway, it'll come to me. We can discuss that later. So the point is that devotees heartily welcome and worship such statements. They're always eager to hear more and more about Krishna. Aniyor, they're always wanting to hear more and more. And wants demons to know that Krishna is superhuman, transcendental, and above modes, time, and space. So this is what Arjuna wants to establish here by asking this question, so that people do not question the fact. And how wonderfully Krishna will answer the question in the next verse. He will tell Arjuna that you may not remember anything, my dear friend, but I remember everything about your past life, this life, future life, and what are you going to do. So how interesting is that? And that has to be someone, God, or somebody very empowered by God, like Narad Muni, like Lord Shiva, who are Trikala, who can see the past, present, and future. So this is the purport of the Srila Prabhupada, and it is explained that is Arjuna convinced of Krishna's position? Yes, he is. It is evident from chapter 10 mentioned in this purport. So you see Prabhupada quotes, if you remember, let's go back to the verse because this is a very important point here. It will be evident from the 10th chapter, Arjuna knew perfectly well that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the fountainhead of everything, and the last word in transcendence. Of course, Krishna also appeared as the son of Devaki on this earth. How Krishna remained the same Supreme Personality of Godhead, the eternal original person, is very difficult for an ordinary man to understand. Therefore, to clarify this point, Arjuna put this question before Krishna so that he himself could speak authoritatively. You see, when Krishna speaks authoritatively, then everything becomes clear. When the sun shines in the sky, all the darkness is dissipated. You can clearly see what is to be seen by our eyes. But without the sun, our eyes have not much value, you see. So similarly, if we see everything in the world, but we do not see Krishna in that relation, then unfortunately, whatever we are seeing is Shama eva hi kevalam. We have wasted all our time and energy. But when we see a creation like the sun, we know this is like, in the Brahma Samhita, it is explained that the sun is like the eyes of the Lord. Then we see the moon, we hear in the Bhagavad Gita that moon provides the juice of life to the vegetables. It is the most soothing and the cooling thing in the night, which really calms down everyone. When we see the lion, we know from Bhagavad Gita that lion represents Krishna because Krishna tells in the Bhagavad Gita. So like this, one can start to relate many aspects of our life when we have the opportunity to hear the message of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So let's go back to our slide. So here, what is demoniac standpoint about Krishna's position? These points are similar to those mentioned in the purpose, not like the idea that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Some people think, how can Krishna be the Supreme Personality of Godhead? I want to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then they reject him as a supreme authority. They think, why do we have to accept the authority of Krishna? Distort him according to their understanding, find such explanations strange because they study from their own standpoint. Like, Prabhupada mentions this. These people like to bring in their own idea. Oftentimes people used to go to Prabhupada and say, have you heard of such and such person? And Prabhupada's first question would be, what are they talking? What is their philosophy all about? And just by asking that question, Prabhupada was able to completely eradicate all the doubts in the devotees or his disciples who are around him because their philosophy is bogus. Because Prabhupada could immediately refute this unless and until it is coming on the, in the parampara system based on the Siddhanta or based on the principles of devotional service as delineated in our line by our Goswamis, you see. And Rupa Goswami has explained this, that, just following the rules for the sake of following and doing things for the sake of following is actually causes a disturbance. But when you follow the rules as it is being given by our acharyas, then that becomes the very reason of our perfection in our life. So our life is meant to follow or traverse the path of our previous teachers. And by doing so, then there is some hope of one day perfecting our life. But if we think that I am God, or I can do this, or I can concoct, or I can go on speculating for many years, and I will arrive at a conclusion one day and I will think, okay, I'm God. That day is not going to happen, not going to come. And that is why Arjuna is doing us a favor, a huge favor, that please understand that we cannot be God. We cannot speculate about the God. We cannot reject his supreme authenticity or his authority. We accept him as Krishna says, and Arjuna did. Param Brahma, Param Dhama. In the 10th chapter, he will accept, yes, my Lord, you are the supreme abode. You are the final supreme destination. You are the one who should be worshipped. You are the benefactor of all the sacrifices. All these verses are there to give us the evidence. Ete cham kalapum sa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indriyani Vyakulam Loke Mridyanti Indriyani Vyakulam Loke Mridyanti Yuge Yuge. Did I get that right? The last two lines? Ete cham sakala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Yakulam Loke Mridyanti Yuge Yuge. Yes. So Krishna is establishing in Srimad Bhagavatam the very fact that I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You know, Vyasadeva is giving us that evidence. And we should just surrender at that point and do not speculate and try to put somebody else in Krishna's position. But because then we are in one sense becoming a Mayavadi actually. Because the moment we think that either we are supreme or somebody else is supreme, that Krishna, that in one sense is Mayavad. And we have to be very, very careful of that idea. So in essence, this verse is trying to tell us that let us try to understand the mood of a devotee, like how Arjuna has asked this question is for our own benefit, so that we do not speculate and we accept Krishna's authority, so that we appreciate Krishna's pastimes and we understand that by appreciating the pastimes, one day we will be able to go back to spiritual world. And Krishna is telling Arjuna, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvata taktava deham punar janma neti mameti sam Arjuna. He's saying clearly that anyone who understands the appearance, my pastimes, my activities, just by understanding that, one is able to go back to spirit, that they are not material, they are transcendental. One is able to go back to spiritual world. But that understanding or realization will come when we more absorb ourselves more in reading and hearing. And this month of Kartik is the best time to hear and read about these transcendental topics in Srimad Bhagavatam, about this transcendental literature, Bhagavad Gita. Who in this month is reading from Bhagavatam every day? Please tell us what you're reading.
Gajendra Stuti.
Please tell us, Mataji, what anything which stuck in your mind about this wonderful meditation you're having in Kartik Gajendra Stuti.
It's
Anything
how
which comes to your mind.
It teaches you about your spiritual journey, that you never lose what you do in every lifetime. So even if even in Gajendra's case, he had the animal's body, he actually remembered at the time of distress, he remembered his previous prayers that he had recited. And that just shows that no matter how much, whatever prayers you've learned this lifetime, you won't lose them. They will come as credits with you in your next life. So never wasted. Nothing in spiritual life is ever wasted.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. And I remember when I was hearing one class on Gajendra's Moksha's pastimes from, I think it was Gaurang Prabhu, and he was saying that, no, sorry, it was Amrendra Prabhu. I do apologize. And he was saying, we may think, okay, this is Gajendra, and this is, what was the name of the crocodile? He had a very nice name. Hoo-hoo. Yeah, my daughter, she used to really love this name, Hoo-hoo. So Hoo-hoo, we may think, oh, okay, that's Gajendra and he's stuck. But Amrendra Prabhu explains that actually our life is not different from Gajendra. We are in fact more in the mouth of Hoo-hoo than Gajendra was. And I was really reflecting on it. And that is a fact, because the more we are in the absorption of material energy, and the more we are trying to find happiness in the world, that's how much inside we are in Hoo-hoo's mouth. Just remember that. Because the result of trying to find happiness in this world is no less than having our half of the body, if not more of our body, in a crocodile's mouth. Why? Because it is painful. We are trying to run behind the happiness, which is like Prabhupada explains, it's like a mirage in a desert. We are trying to look for the water, but we know, and we are running here and there thinking I'll find the water, because from far we are thinking there's so much of water. But as we come closer and closer, all we see is sand. And then we are almost about to die because we need water, and all we are surrounded is by sand. So similarly, when we are running out of this material happiness, thinking, okay, this thing will satisfy me or give me the ultimate happiness, until and unless we, as Gaur-Gopal Prabhu says, there's no harm in having a beautiful car or a nice place to live, as long as you're able to connect it. He said, have it, no problem. I remember, this famous video Prabhu gives. But try to count things in your life, which gives you the real happiness. Like he gave that one example, see when you drop a tear, how many people are there to ask you what happened. So like this, on a more higher level, the idea is try to count how many blessings we have, how much of association of sadhus do we have, how much is my mind absorbed in chanting the holy name, how much am I going deep in the meaning of the Damodar Ashtakam every day, how much when I'm singing the song, this beautiful bhajan, am I really coming to the level where I can slowly and gradually really offer my heart, situated on the lamp offering with that beautiful light, which is in the form of transcendental knowledge. And I'm trying to worship the Lord from the deepest ocean or the deepest core of my heart, which is completely enlightened with the torch of the transcendental knowledge, as we sing every morning in the, Guru Charana Padma prayers. So we should really sometimes, well, not sometimes, all the times, also be conscious of the quality of things we do. And that is always very, very helpful. Anybody else is reading Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita every day?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Please tell us, what are you reading these days, Bhagavati Mataji?
At the moment, I'm on Bhagavatam. I'm repeating the whole Bhagavatam again. I'm going on 4, Canto 4, and I'm going into 21, 23. This is all about Prithu Maharaj.
Prithu Maharaj.
We are also doing
Wow.
And we recently had a big class in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam sets we do with Suchirani Mataji every Thursday, but I'm reading, ahead of
Nice.
that every day. Yeah.
That's
And he shows the
amazing.
leadership and the qualities of his ideal king, who is a saintly king, yeah. And he satisfies and pays respects to everyone, you see.
Beautiful.
And his leadership was really good. And always he says that please remain in devotional service. And Shravanam Kirtanam is very important in your life. And that sort of thing is King Prithu. I mean, he ruled.
Yeah. No, go ahead, Mataji.
No, he ruled the king. Veena was cruel, but he really became a very, very, powerful king, But he never wanted others to suffer. He took everything. And it wasn't whimsically he was training. He was taking it under dharma. Nothing was just learned, that I will not follow dharma.
Very exemplary character from Srimad Bhagavatam. Even though he's the empowered Shaktavesha avatar of the Lord, when he was glorified by his audience in the kingdom, he did not accept any glorification. He said it should only be given to those who are worthy. And in those purports, Srila Prabhupada explained so wonderfully that this should be the mood of a devotee. Or, even though Prithu Maharaj is so much empowered by the Lord, yet he's trying to set a precedent that please do not accept me unless you see the work I perform and the qualities I have, So yeah, it's great. So nice to hear these meditation, Gajendra Moksha, Prithu Maharaj. So Anju Mataji, what are you reading for Santosh Mataji these days then? Which Bhagavatam or which chapter of Bhagavad Gita, what are you reading?
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
We are on 10th canto.
Jai.
And because this is a Ramayan area time, so every day we take a character from Ramayan and talk about it. So today I spoke about Hanumanji.
What did you speak about Hanumanji? Tell us one thing which you spoke about Hanumanji, Mataji.
Okay. Hanumanji, the meaning of Hanuman is जो मान का हनन करे.
Very nice.
The one who defies ego.
Wonderful.
And he was, his mother was Anjana and the father was Keshari. And he was the favorite disciple of Lord Ram. And why he's red? Because once he saw Sita Mata putting sindoor in her hair, in the parting of her hair, and he asked her why, what is it? So she said that this is the sindoor, and when we put sindoor on our forehead, Lord Rama gives blessings, and he likes it.
Nice. Very nice.
He disappeared and he put the sindoor all over himself, his whole body, his clothes, his hair, because he thought if a pinch can do so much, what will happen if I do my whole body red? So he was very innocent and very devoted to Lord Ram and Sita.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Great. So let's end this evening by, I wasn't thinking to recite the whole verse. I wanted to just meditate on one stanza of Damodar Astakam. But let's do this together. It's always difficult to pick someone to, because I'm sure everybody would want to sing this beautiful bhajan. Any suggestions who should sing the bhajan tonight? It's supposed to be Sunday night, but let's do it. This is the bhajan of every day. So I have 5 minutes. We can recite it together and read one translation. Anybody is on the call from chat who has not been reciting Damodar Astakam every day? It's fine. You can be honest, and that's what Krishna likes.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Naina Mataji. So here is your opportunity. You will recite the Astakam and we will recite with you behind the muted mics. But the only request, sorry, you were saying something?
But I cannot, Prabhu.
You cannot? Okay.
I don't know how to.
Well, you can still recite behind the muted mics if somebody is going to recite. But because you have said yes, and I really appreciate your honesty, you get a reward of that. And the reward you get is that, Mataji, after today, you're going to have to recite this every day till 19th of November. Is that a deal?
Yes, that's a deal. And in fact, in yesterday's session, Mataji was going to record in her voice and send it to us. So I asked, as well as some of the devotees, to be sent. And just before the session, I received it. So I was going to recite it after our session, after the class.
Okay, wonderful. So you've already signed up the deal. So well done.
I have, yes.
Make sure you don't miss a day, Mataji, and see if you can also offer the lamp or a candle at the same time to the Lord.
Yes.
One thing before we do, dear devotees, on 30th of October, write down if you have a pencil, paper, pen. It's easy. People have mobile phones. 30th of October, which is a Saturday, I believe, we are having a monthly Sankirtan festival in St. Albans. And the idea is that day we may need devotees to help make some cookies so we can distribute. So you can also help in book distribution that way. We will need some people to sponsor some candles and bring some candles and bring your Radha Damodar deities if you have small ones. And we will have them on the table and we will invite people to offer the candle right in the central place of the St. Albans High Street. We're going to make it a nice scene. And we're going to make Lord Damodar, who's already famous, a little bit more famous in a little town called St. Albans. So please write down, because I tell you, one thing is to perform devotional service activity in this month, which gives you 1,000-time benefits because it's the month of Kartik. But the other thing is to actually do an activities which brings others closer to Krishna. I can't even Krishna can't tell you how many 1,000 times benefits you're going to get. The prediction in the Shastra is for something we do, but something we're going to do for others, there's no count for it. Only Krishna knows how amazingly he becomes dear to that person. So 30th of October, tomorrow morning, Guru Shakti Mataji is going to share the flyer. Put your name down on the Sankirtan Forever group and be there for the party. Don't miss this great opportunity. Kartik only comes once a year. You only get one opportunity. Even if you just came for half an hour and told somebody to please come and offer the candle. And people love offering the candle. There's lots happening in the world. There is COVID, there's this, there's so much going on. So just come closer and offer a candle. And then you see what magical things will happen in your life. How you become dear to Krishna. How does that sound to everyone?
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, it sounds very good.
Hare Krishna, Hare
We
Mataji.
would like to know the address of the place.
Yes, it'll be shared. Everything will be in the flyer, Rita Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you. And there is a prasadam at the end as well in St. Albans at a devotee's house who's very kindly agreed to host us. So if anybody is also open to invite devotees, we have this every month. We do Sankirtan festival. If you want to open up your home and just cook for the devotees, and that's how you want to take part in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime, that is also completely bona fide.
Prabhuji, where are you going to cook the cookies?
Yeah, cookies, we need devotees to volunteer. If somebody can help cook some cookies and bake it at their home and offer it to their deities and bring it on that day to be distributed, that'll be an amazing service.
Okay.
And not just one, many of you can do this. Imagine anything you're doing is going to be multiplied by 1,000 times. This is the month to encash all your fixed deposits, all your bonds which you have bought over the years of practice. This is the month to encash everything. And that encashing means giving in wholesale to the people, inviting as many souls as possible to Krishna so they can offer one candle to Krishna and attract his attention. So please start meditating now. You have over a week to help us in reaching out to thousands of people. And we are sending a count every day also. If you offer or invite somebody to your house, a friend, tell them about what you're doing. Let them offer a candle to Radha Damodar. Just by offering a candle, they're getting enormous amount of spiritual sukriti in this month. And now it's 8:45. I'm sorry, we were supposed to sing. Should we just still sing it?
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji, yes.
Okay, right.
I was thinking I could sing one line, I mean one verse.
Okay, go ahead, Chandra Chaitanya Prabhu. You do the first one. Hema Mataji does the second one. Bhagwati Mataji does the third one. Shailesh Prabhu, if you're listening, you can do the fourth one. If not, Seema Mataji, Shobhana Mataji can do the next one. And then Shipra Mataji can do the one. And then Varsha Mataji can do one. So please go ahead, Prabhu. We'll recite it together behind the muted mics.
Radha Damodar ki jai, Yash Damaya ki jai. Namami Swaram Sachidananda Rupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam Yashoda Biyolu Kala Davamanam Varam Rastam Atyanto Drutya Gopya
Rudam tamuhurnetram yugma brijantam karamboja yugmena satantanetram muhushva sukham patri rekhato kanta titagreva damodaram bhaktivadam
Iti Shvalilabhir Ananda Kunde Swagoshani Machantam Akhyapayantam Tadesi Tagneshu Bhakte Chitatvam Puna Premastatam Sata Vritti Vande.
Varam Devam Moksham Namacham Vadimva. Natural.
Hare Krishna devotees, if everybody else can stay muted, that will be very helpful.
Varam Deva Moksham Na Moksham Vadimva
नाचैनं विनेहं वरे सदपिहा इदं ते वपुरनाथ गोपालबालं सदा मे मनस्य अविरस्तं किम् अन्ये.
इदं ते मुखम्भोजम् अत्यन्तानीले व्रतं कुन्तलाय स्निग्धं रक्तश्च गोप्या मुकुस्कुम्भितं बिम्बरक्तधरं मे
I'm going to mute everybody and then you can unmute yourself when your turn comes. Whoever was next, please go ahead, unmute yourself.
Namo Devudamodaram Ananta Vishnu Prashido Prabhaduku Jalam Bhimanam Vipadishti Vittasti Vinambutanam Grihaleshu Mamu Bhuvita Idrisho.
Kuveratmajo badha murte vayadva Tvaya mochito bhakti bhajau kritau cha Tatha prema bhaktim swakam me prayascha Namo kshegraho me sti damodareha. Last one.
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Go ahead, Manmohini Mataji.
Namaste stutamne spuradiptitamne Tvadiyodarayata Vishwasitamne Namo Radhikaya Atyadiya Priyaya Namo Nantalilaya Devaya Tupyam.
Right, let's do something magical which we have never done. I don't mind how the voice comes out. Let's everybody unmute and we're going to sing the last one 3 times together. At the count of 3, we're going to do it. Because ultimately it's an offering to the Lord. Doesn't matter how it comes out. 1, 2, 3. Namaste I think one is good. One is good, I think. Hare Krishna.
It was good, sir.
Hare Krishna, Leela Prabhu, please unmute. It's too much.
Hare Krishna. I think one was good, dear devotees. Sorry for that experiment, but never mind. We all sang it and Krishna heard it. That's the most important thing. Here's the translation to the first one. To the Supreme Controller who possesses an eternal form of blissful knowledge, whose glistering earrings swing to and fro, who manifested himself in Gokul, who stole the butter that the gopis kept hanging from the rafters of their storerooms, and who then quickly jumped up and ran in retreat in fear of Mother Yashoda, but was ultimately caught. To that Supreme Lord Sri Damodar, I offer my humble obeisances. Shri Shri Radha Damodar Bhagavan ki jai. Srila Jiva Goswami प्राण धन है शीला जीव गोस्वामी प्राण धन है शीला जीव गोस्वामी प्राण धन है जय राधा दामोदर की जय कार्तिक मास की जय so dear devotees
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Please write down on a piece of paper 30th of October. Don't forget, be there. It's going to be a great opportunity. Don't miss it. It's the only monthly Sankirtan festival. You're going to get a chance this year in Kartik. The next one will be in November. In fact, November, we may have a couple of activities with His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu, Krishna willing. If it all goes well and if Guru Maharaj is here, then we will get to do quite a few things together. So I have somebody's hand up, and that is iPhone Prabhu or Mataji. Please go ahead and unmute yourself. You have your hand up. Would you like to say something? Or Varsha Mataji, go ahead.
Prabhuji, I like that song. How can I get it, that bhajan we just sang?
If you liked it, then it's already in your heart, Mataji. You don't have to look anywhere. I'm just joking.
No, I meant if
you can.
I want to
Yeah,
sing
sure.
again.
So if you just Google Damodar Ashtakam lyrics and do put ISKCON next to it, and then you'll get a link to go there, or you can go in YouTube and somebody will be able to share it on the. I'll ask Jyoti Mataji, who has admin rights, who will share it on the group for us. Jyoti Mataji, will you do that for us?
Yes, Prabhuji, sure.
And thank you for all the services you're doing, Mataji, so diligently. It's amazing. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for that as well.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. On
And
that
it was
note,
a
dear
wonderful
devotees,
class,
have a
Prabhuji.
wonderful Krishna conscious Kartik evening. Let's keep pleasing the Lord. Let's keep inviting others closer to Krishna. That is the essence of our life. We have been given something which is invaluable. And the more we give, the more we are going to get. That's the magic of this beauty of Krishna consciousness. Just remember, the more you give, the more you're going to get. That's how the mercy works actually. So vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam
Patitanam
pavanebhyo
Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo.
Prabhupada ki
Thank you,
jai.
Prabhuji.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Wonderful
Hare
class.
Krishna,
Thank you.
everybody.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for the wonderful class, Prabhuji. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Sima Mataji. Thank you. Thank you, Leeladhar Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Jai. Thank you, Mi Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.